Okay, so this feels like a bucket list moment for me right now, because it's my great honor now to introduce the man, the legend, Mr. Tim Schafer, to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to talk about your new game, Keeper.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do that, I have to start with a little confession, because you're one of my idols.
Oh, no.
I've played all your games, and there's one that's especially dear to my heart is Monkey Island 2. But back in the days, I didn't exactly buy it, but I kind of borrowed it from a friend. Problem is that you needed to have the code wheel to start the game. So I had to call him to get these little voodoo recipes to play.
Sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
Liebe Regie, können wir das mal kurz schauen, weil Tim kann mich nicht hören.
It looked like we're sitting close, but I couldn't hear. It sounded like you were talking about software piracy.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, no.
So I was definitely talking about piracy. So I had to call this friend up all the time to get the voodoo recipes. And this is acceptable for 2 to 3 times, but I really played your game a long time, for a year. So I had to call this guy for a year and get the voodoo recipes back, and now we're friends, but back in the day we were just classmates. So I feel there needs to be appropriate punishment for me for software piracy, so I brought something along where you can punish me. And this is...
Can I have your body pump?
My what?
Transmitter, maybe it's closed.
Ihr habt nichts gesehen. So. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, that's
hello.
better. Thank you.
Now, technical difficulties, but
It was the earthquake.
it was the earthquake, really.
Yeah.
So I was saying, I pirated your game, and you need to punish me. And I brought some punishment that's appropriate because I had a voodoo doll of me made.
Just when the legs were sticking out, it was very disturbing. I was scared of what. That does look amazingly like you. Look
Right.
at that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do the voice. Do the voice.
Please punish me. I'm a software pirate. I need to be punished.
So this is for you.
This is getting weird already.
This is what I was hoping for.
Could we do the whole interview
you brought
with this being you, and I'll lip sync what you say?
Of course, Tim. That's a great idea. But please don't punish me too hard. I need to live.
I'm sorry, but you pirated software, which is killing the games industry.
I'm so sorry I didn't know what I was doing back then. But now I need to be punished.
So here's some needles if you ever want to use them.
He's got some...
Ah!
I'm just inspecting your teeth. He's got no teeth. No, I don't think I would ever... Look at this. Is an adorable little puppet. It's very
Maybe
nice.
inspiration for your next game about me as a puppet.
Well, I almost messed up all my job interviews. I don't know if you've heard that story, but when I was applying at LucasArts for a job, they said, have you played any of our games? And I loved their games. And I said, yeah, well, I really liked Ball Blaster. And he said, Ball Blaster, huh? That's what it was called when it was pirated. And I did have... I'm doing you laugh. I did have this disc of games my friend had made for me that had all pirated versions of their game. And then when I applied for the job, I hadn't played a lot of their later games. I'd only played the old 8-bit games, so I hadn't played Zack McCracken yet. And I had a job interview, and so I went and I got a copy of Zack McCracken, but I couldn't really afford it. So I bought it and played it, and I returned it. So no harm done.
Okay. This is a load off my chest now, so I think we can start with a regularly scheduled program about Keeper, your new game that you're showing off at Gamescom. Can you tell us what it's all about?
Oh, Keeper. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Am I going to carry... Let me just set him right here.
Yeah.
He's tired. He's going to...
It's been a hard day for him
He's
already.
going to sleep. He's ashamed of his
Yeah.
life of thievery. So yeah, we're here to talk about our newest game, Keeper.
Yeah.
The last time I was at Gamescom was 16 years ago. For the first Gamescom, we were here to show Brutal Legend.
Ah.
Yeah. Old days.
I
And
also like this one. Yeah.
and the art director on Brutal Legend was
Lee Perry.
Lee Petty.
Petty, sorry.
Lee Petty.
Yeah.
Lee Perry, I think, is a
Somebody else.
ska artist. And Lee just has an amazing visual style, which you saw in Brutal Legend and other games he was art director for Broken Age. And he's also very technically minded, so he understands things about shaders and things about how things are rendered. And so you put them together, and it's like you're able to envision and also create these amazing looking worlds. And after being an art director, he started to do his own projects. And other than me, he's the one who's made the most games at Double Fine. So he made Stacking, which is an adventure game with every character is a little Russian nesting doll, Matryoshka doll.
Yeah.
And then he made Headlander, which is a Metroidvania about a flying head in a spacesuit helmet.
Yeah.
And then he made Rad, which is a roguelike action game set in the 80s post-apocalyptic wasteland. And we were talking about what his next game should be. And right about that time is when we joined Xbox. We've been an indie studio for 20 years.
Yeah.
And we just joined Xbox. We're like, well, this is a different situation. We're not running out of money all the time. We have support and finances, and we don't have to pitch a game to publishers. And Lee is like, I want to take advantage of that. I want to make something really weird. Like, I want to make something that we could never have gotten signed.
Yeah.
The normal process of going and saying, we got this really commercial thing. It's about a walking lighthouse. So he came up with the idea for Keeper. Also, he's inspired by when we were all locked inside during the global pandemic. Mm-hmm. We couldn't do anything except for he would often find take breaks by taking long hikes in nature, mm-hmm. In the hills around his house. And he's looking at nature, thinking about this troubling time for humanity and how nature just keeps on going, without humans, and the interaction between all the different life forms and how they change over time, metamorphosizing and evolving throughout the seasons. And so that kind of inspiration I found really relaxing in nature. But also, Lee is kind of a weird guy. He likes a lot of strange images and movies and surrealist painters like Dali and Max Ernst, and also films he grew up on like The Dark Crystal, which are really fantasy-like and mysterious and childlike, but also kind of creepy and dark in a way. So he putting those two ideas together of the chill of nature and the weirdness of those artistic inspirations to make something that is an experience that is both weird but chill, which is what Keeper is.
Yeah. We've seen a trailer before, and I was wondering, how does it actually play? Are you just controlling the lighthouse, or does this little bird also? Are you also controlling the bird?
Oh, yeah, you are controlling the lighthouse. In the opening of the game, the lighthouse is a normal standing lighthouse, and this large seabird is blown off course and lands on the lighthouse and seems to cause it to awaken. Mm-hmm. And it immediately comes to life and stumbles and falls on the ground, and then sprouts these legs that allow it to stand up and start walking around. Yeah. So as a player, you control the lighthouse walking around, and you also aim the light beam from the lighthouse around the environment. And you can, in a broad way, you can cause things to kind of come to life, you can cause things to burn away. And then you also have a very focused beam that you can aim at certain objects to cause a more puzzly interaction, a more direct, powerful interaction. Yeah. And then you can see the sea bird that is your companion throughout the game is named Twig. And once the light has found little perch points in the environment, they highlight, and you can send Twig out to land there and maybe turn a crank or do something that causes an interaction. So with those, the light and the focus light and the Twig interactions, you can solve puzzles and just kind of explore the world and enjoy the ambiance of this magical, strange world that he made.
You said the game is going to be weird but chill. And what I took away from the trailer is that it's completely without words. There's no dialogue in it. Why did you choose this path, and what were the challenges trying to tell a narrative without words?
I think it's just an interesting creative challenge that Lee wanted to take on. And I'm the real wordy one at the office. Like, my natural instinct is to solve problems by writing a cutscene for them. And Lee's an artist and expresses himself very visually. And I think a lot of the animators on the team are the kind of animators that want to do scenes that work even if the volume is turned off. So they have a way of expressing emotion and meaning through just the physical actions of the characters. And also the sound design, the music, everything tells a story that is actually very emotional and has character arcs throughout it, but with not a single line of dialogue being spoken.
Yeah. the game you released before was Psychonauts 2, was a huge odyssey for the studio. You had a documentary about it. It was a huge game in the end for by Double Fine standards. How does Keeper compare to this? Is Psychonauts 2 like a much bigger game? Is Keeper around the same size?
It's a smaller team,
Yeah.
but it's and a smaller length of gameplay. Lee estimates at around 6 to 8 hours of game, but it is big in its presentation. You know, they really wanted to push the visuals. It's all done in Unreal 5.5, I think, and they really wanted to add a lot of special rendering techniques that our team came up with that are custom to the game.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's more ambitious in that it's trying to do a lot. You'll see a lot of visually morphing things going on the screen, a lot of interesting shaders and effects. So it's very big in its visual ambitions, I would say.
Yeah. So before you mentioned that Lee came up with this idea right around the time you were acquired by Xbox, that you now have the funding to do any game. Do you still have to convince someone at Xbox to actually get games made, or is it like a carte blanche, do your crazy thing and we'll just pay the bill in the end?
We share with them what we want to do, but they've never said anything. They don't impose any sort of creative stipulations on the projects. They wanted to work with us because of who we were at the time, you know, and who we are now, and just are trusting us to make great games that will, you know, provide a lot of value and variety on Game Pass and other places, you know, because they have a lot of their other bases covered, and I feel like there's a type of game that only Double Fine can make, and we can do that like no one else, and I think that's what we have to offer them.
Yeah. Is there any artist out there, like an author or an actor or a musician or someone that you want to work with still? Did you
Is this my chance to recruit famous celebrities? Hi.
Let's make it happen here.
Hi, famous
are there any
celebrities. How you
musicians
doing?
here? In the
You know, they kind of are inspirations in the moment. You know, when we were making Brutal Legend and we were designing the character, and we kept talking to Scott Campbell, who's designing the character. We're like, well, he's kind of like, it's a little Glenn Danzig and a little like Jack Black, you know, like not if they had a love child, but if they just made out for a little while or something. We kept saying, and then when we talked about the voice, you often think like, well, you want someone like Jack Black to do the voice, and they're like, what if we could actually get Jack Black? And you know, we did, and that kind of gave us the courage to approach Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace, and all the other heavy metal icons we got for that game. Because a lot of times you think people are unapproachable because they are so famous, but a lot of those people are just really creative individuals that like putting on a show, and they want to be involved in creative projects. And if you can connect with them as a creator, they are just really fun to work with, and they add a lot of creativity to the project.
So you're saying that this has to come out of an organic process of brainstorming, and it's not like you have any specific names in mind. You have on your bucket list you still want to work with.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, of course, the Lighthouse, the film with Robert Pattinson and I'm kidding, Christopher Walken. We could, you know, they know a lot about lighthouses, and it would be great to have them booked for the game and come into the studio and then be absolutely silent because there's no dialogue in the game. But we still, the spirit is there.
So I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't asking you this, because in the beginning you said that when you were acquired by Microsoft, this gave you the freedom to do the games you want to do and have them do the financing side. Now there were all these headlines in the last month. There were lots of layoffs at Microsoft and studio closures. Has your, I would say, situation or your outlook changed? Is your mind still at ease with this, or is it somehow impacted your whole outlook?
Well, I mean, no one likes, layoffs are horrible.
Yeah.
They're really upsetting. And we've had multiple games canceled in our history, but we've been around for 25 years, and the industry has never been a place where you can just be like, we're good forever. I mean, we've had very close brushes with deaths at the studio. We've had Psychonauts and Brutal Legend were both canceled, and we thought we were going to, you know, and we had a lot of luck, and a lot of studios hadn't made it. And it's not easy, but we've always just tried to stay really nimble as a project, as a company, and we've managed to get through. So it's not a, I don't want to say it was a really bad and tough year, I think, for people, and so I feel a lot for the people who were affected by it. But luckily, we were not affected and didn't seem we were never approached like we were close to being affected. And so we mostly just focus on, how do you just make really great games? And because like any studio or anyone in the game industry, you never know what's going to happen. And you just really just have to focus on your game and putting really great art out there.
Yeah.
And so far that's kept us out of trouble.
So if you were young again and have to choose a profession, would you still become a game developer today, or would you advise against it with a current landscape?
Well, it is. It's a rough industry for a lot of people. On the other hand, it's so much easier to make a game by yourself these days. You can pull down a choice of game engines, Unreal or a lot of them, and you can learn how to program on YouTube, or you can there's so many ways to just create a game all by yourself and even market it now with social media. So it's the barriers for entering are so low that people can just start making games and they don't need to. I mean, I benefited a lot by getting a job at a publisher, working at LucasArts for 10 years, taught me a lot of things. But I was always jealous that some people just started out making games on their own and they got to, actually keep the money they made and things like that. So I think it's a kind of job that you really need to love to work in the games industry. Most people who work in the games industry make games because they just have to. They're just like, I'm going to make a game, and I hope I can make this work as a living.
Yeah. So Keeper is coming to PC and Xbox on October 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And with all the other Xbox games that are currently making their way over to PlayStation, do you already have PlayStation plans for Keeper?
Right now, we're just announcing that we're on Xbox and PC. Day one Game Pass, and that's the platforms we're doing.
All right.
Now.
Thank you so much. This was a great pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you for letting me touch your voodoo doll. I feel bad hurting it. I feel like I need to cradle it now.
Anytime.
Shh, go to sleep. Go to sleep, little Michael. Oh, it's sad. He's crying still. Does this feel weird?
Not for me. This is the greatest moment of my year so far. Thank you so much for being here, Tim Schafer.